Thanksgiving weekend. Are you still full? We are still full, but never too full to talk about the movies and the new ones coming out this holiday weekend. There's some good ones. Welcome to the screening room.
Are either one of these any good?
Wow, this is a good movie.
It's pretty good.
Well, the director from yesterday doesn't think so.
It stinks.
He's sorry. You waste our film.
It's so bad.
Actually, I said I was full, but I just had a snack a little bit ago, and she couldn't believe that I had a snack. But I'm still pretty full. We had a good Thanksgiving dinner. Hope you did too. And holiday weekends, always big for the movies. And yeah, a couple of big releases in the theaters this weekend. Some smaller ones too for streaming and in theaters. So let's start out with a mystery, a whodunit.
First up in theaters, Benoit Blanc returns for his most dangerous case yet. It's Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery.
Rian Johnson is back with number 3 with these crazy mysteries. How does he come up with this stuff? It's nuts. And of course, that means Daniel Craig is back as Benoit Blanc, the world's greatest detective. And we've enjoyed all 3 of these. This one is right up there. I think I like this one better than Glass Onion. Not that I didn't like Glass Onion, did. But this one is really, really enjoyable. And it's actually funny because I don't remember how long it took in the other 2 to actually see Benoit Blanc, but he doesn't show up for 45 minutes in this movie as they set the stage, as it's set in a small Catholic church, Our Lady of Perpetual Servitude. And there's been a murder of the Monsignor, played by Josh Brolin.
Having a great year. He's having a killer year.
Yeah, he really is. Killer. Ha ha. See what you did there. And he's great in this. And so, and he's murdered a little bit after he gets a new priest, a new, I guess, assistant priest, because he's Monsignor. He's up here. And then you get the new priest, Judd, played by Josh O'Connor.
Who is everywhere.
And he's got a bit of a, I don't want to say shady, but an interesting past. He used to be a boxer, and he killed a man in the ring. And he sort of got sent to this assignment by Jeffrey Wright for a bit of a punishment for an insubordination. So he's got that, you find that out about him, that he could be violent in his past. He's had that, but yet he's very committed to his belief that Christ was sent to heal the world. And so we see him as an outwardly good person trying to do good. And he gets here at this church and he finds out that things are a little heated because Josh Brolin practices a different kind of Christianity, and it's based on bullying. And you get the idea pretty quickly who Rian Johnson's Knives Out, who he has the knives out for this time. I mean, Glass Onion, it was Elon Musk and the tech bros. Mm-hmm. Well, now you can probably guess who they're out for this time, and actually religion in itself, because when Benoit Blanc finally shows up and he sets foot inside the church for the first time, he lets it be known in no uncertain terms he doesn't like to be in churches. And there is an incredible speech as to why. And you're like, whoa, we're certainly not subtle here, are we? But it's so much fun to get caught up in these mysteries. And after Josh Brolin, Monsignor Jefferson Wicks, winds up dead in the church, and Father Judd is the first one to find the body. So that makes him the first prime suspect, especially considered his somewhat violent past. There's a bunch of suspects and a star-studded cast, including Glenn Close and Jeremy Renner and Thomas Hayden Church and Kerry Washington and Daryl McCormick and Kaylee Spaney. Excuse me. And then you've got the local police chief, Mila Kunis, who's out of her league pretty quickly, especially when Benoit comes to town. But even he admits a lot of times that he's stumped by this case. But he's also stumped by the sort of church going that is going on inside this small parish. Oh, I forgot to mention Andrew Scott. He's also a suspect. He's a writer who is writing a book about the Monsignor. So there's a lot going on, and it's something that takes apart as you're getting a look at each of these suspects. And we all know it's the old Agatha Christie type of formula.
Yeah.
And it's been done a million times, and sometimes it's not done well. Sometimes it's done very well, as it is here. and you get a look at these different suspects and who might have some motives and who you believe. It's always fun to start trying to think, okay,
Yes.
I think I can figure it out.
Right.
You can't. You're not going to figure it out. Let me tell you that right now. None of the who or the how they done it. And that's so much fun. But boy, Rian Johnson and this script, which is funny in spots. It's not as much of an outward comedy as Glass Onion was.
Right.
There are some laugh out loud moments, including a great bit with a church organ that I laughed out loud. But it's not as much of an outright comedy, but you will laugh. But it's got darker themes. And to go along with that, Daniel Craig, who's letter perfect again, the whole ensemble is, but he's got this character down cold. And last time he was much more flamboyant, which was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
This time he's dialed in because the whole movie has a darker type tone as it takes on how religion is used for power, and radicalization is power. And you have that as a microcosm inside this church with this small flock, and how the Monsignor was wielding his power to bully people and to find who would follow him and just back him up no matter what. So, like I said, it's not subtle, but it's still smartly written, and it's really fun to get caught up in. The performances to a letter to each character are just great, led by Daniel Craig, even though he doesn't show up for 45 minutes. Once he does, the fun starts. So really enjoyed this. I would put it up right there with the best of the three. They're all three good. But this one is really, really fun. And, I like that he went there, that he wasn't afraid to go there. Look, this is what I'm saying. This is what I have to say. And there's some people are not going to be happy about it, but I don't think he cares. And I don't think Benoit Blanc cares either. But this is a lot of fun, and it's 3 for 3 as far as we're concerned for Benoit Blanc and Rian Johnson and the Knives Out Mysteries. Wake Up Dead Man, a little bit long. I think it's about 2:15, but you won't really feel it. Again, it's just fun to get involved in these mysteries, and then of course see how it plays out and what really went down. So, excuse me, I'm a little hoarse, but enjoy it. Yeah, Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out Mystery in theaters this holiday weekend.
An animated film next. Brave rabbit cop Judy Hopps and her friend, the fox Nick Wilde, team up again to crack a new case, the most perilous and intricate of their careers, Zootopia 2.
Speaking of a movie having something to say, how much did we love Zootopia?
Oh, we loved it so much.
10 years ago.
I know.
Holy schmoly.
I know. And it won the Oscars. Zootopia did. That won the Oscar for Best Animated Film. And it was such a delightful change of pace, especially because it's a full-on Disney movie.
Exactly.
Right. It wasn't Pixar. Right. It wasn't DreamWorks.
They went all in.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. And it was a film, a really great film, incredibly well voiced and incredibly well animated, like a beautiful visual, very funny film. About xenophobia and bullying, and I remember watching it like thinking, oh my God, wow,
this is Disney proper.
And it was just so well told. And so they made us wait 10 whole years for the next adventure. And if you've forgotten about the first one, I'm sorry about that. And you should definitely just revisit it because it's a delightful film. But the bunny and fox duo that saved the day in Zootopia. Judy Hopps, which is Jennifer Goodwin, and then the fox, Nick Wilde, who is played to letter perfection by Jason Bateman.
Always love Jason Bateman so much.
He's so funny.
His comic timing, I've said this before, since he was a kid in Silver Spoons. If you didn't know, since he was a little kid, his comic timing has been and it still is.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like it's his deadpan delivery. There is nobody better at that. So
I don't win a lot. We still say that all the time from horrible bosses. You're drag racing in a Prius.
I don't win a lot.
Anyway, we digress.
We do. So it's the day after where the last movie left off. And in the last movie, at the end, she had convinced her best friend, who was a street, thief, to become a cop with her. Judy, the bunny. And so this is the first day where they're on the job and they're rookies. And so they're being sidelined by the water buffalo who leads the group, who's voiced by Idris Elba. Not a big part this time, but Idris Elba is such a great voice actor.
Oh, yeah.
He's just
So
every
commanding.
time.
Yeah.
He can do any kind of an accent, and he's just got a big voice. Anyway, so he's great again. And by the time he finishes the speech that morning, they're already out. They disregarded him, and they're out to crack the crime that he's discussing. And they do crack it, but then they also have this big, ugly car chase that winds up breaking a massive statue during a big parade in town and being humiliated. But Judy Hopps doesn't care about that because she found the skin of a reptile. What? There are no reptiles in Zootopia. And so while she's being chastised, she's just disregarding everything because she has a file on this whole idea that there might be reptiles and why would reptiles be here? But they, of course, get sidelined and they have to go to partners therapy. So what evolves is another very political, very savvy, really smart, very funny, splashy looking film about bullies who use bully tactics to continue generational wealth and pushing people out of. In this case, it's a family of land barons, of lynxes, and they pushed all of the reptiles out of Zootopia so that they could take over their warm climate, and now they're going to try to push all of the sea otters and water animals out so they can take over that marsh climate. And it's really fascinating how well this movie depicts what really happens in real life. And but it asks
As did the last one.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a theme. I wonder why.
Yeah, and it asks some really big questions. At one point, Nick Wilde is like, yeah, justice is great, but do you want to die for it? And I thought, wow, this is a kid's movie. Wow,
Yeah.
that's quite a, and in the end, well, he realizes what he would be willing to die for, and that is his best friend. And it's, it takes these very big concepts and it makes them really relatable to children. And I kept thinking, this is kind of a lot to feed to children, isn't it? And you think, no, because if I'm a grown ass woman feeling completely powerless and overwhelmed by everything that is happening currently, how much more would that be the case if I was a little kid? So it's nice to see a movie that goes, you know what? You could just be a decent person.
That's right.
You just can be. You can just stand up to a bully. You just can.
Yeah. When
Bad things happen if you do it sometimes, but it's always worth it.
Yeah. When you look around you and see bullies winning,
Yeah.
maybe it's good to say that, you know what? Maybe they shouldn't. And the answer is yes, the sloths are back.
Yeah.
Okay, because that was the question. If you remember anything from the first Zootopia, you remember the DMV with the sloths because you're going, yes.
Yep.
Even if the rest of the movie sucked, and it didn't, that was perfection.
It was really, really great. It was great. And he has just one scene, but it's a funny scene. But also, I think, it's like, oh, it's a heat-seeking pit viper. That does sound scary. And then the most perfect casting choice ever to ensure that nobody is afraid of Gary DeSnake is Ki Hu Kwan plays the voice of Gary. You're like, oh no, he could never hurt anybody.
Right.
So it's lovely.
Yeah.
It's it's not maybe exactly as great as the original Zootopia, but it's almost impossible for a film to be as great
But
as the
after
original.
10 years,
Yeah,
a nice return.
Yes, and good timing.
Yeah, good timing. Zootopia 2 for the family in theaters now.
Also in theaters, in an afterlife where souls have 1 week to decide where to spend eternity, Joan is faced with the impossible choice between the man she spent her life with and her first love, who died young and has waited decades for her to arrive. It's Eternity.
Eternity rom-com, the A24. This is an A24 movie, the lighter side of A24. And it's led by 3 really strong performances. It's Elizabeth Olsen, it's Miles Teller, and Callum Turner. And I'm not going to take the time to explain how this all happens, but what happens is you've got a longtime married couple, Miles Teller and Elizabeth Olsen, who pass away pretty close to each other in time, and they both end up in the sort of afterlife way station where the people are picking their eternities. And who else is there but her first husband, who passed away years ago in the Korean War, and he has not chosen his eternity. He's chosen to be a bartender at the way station so he could wait 67 years for Elizabeth Olsen to show up so he could spend eternity with her. So just like that, you've got Elizabeth Olsen having to pick who she's going to choose to spend eternity with. And that's the big question here, and they're helped out by the two afterlife coordinators that sort of help them in a Disney guide way onto their afterlife. And one
Divine
is
Joy
Divine Joy
She's a
Randolph,
stitch.
and the other guy who we've seen, and I've James Early, I think is his name, and we've seen him in John Early. I'm sorry. So, and they get involved in this too. They kind of want to have a competition between each other. Which one was my client going to win, or is your client going to win? So that's
yeah. There is a funny scene where she yells at them. She's like, "This is not a competition." And just quiet. No, this is literally the whole point of everything. This is definitely a competition.
So it's obviously high concept, and because I haven't taken all the time to tell you how this happens, it is contrived in ways that make you think, you know what, this might have started out as a Hallmark holiday rom-com. It definitely has that feel, but then it isn't long before you start to be won over by the sly and deceptive smartness in the script and these performances, because this is a reminder of just how much performances can elevate things.
Yes.
And it's not that this is a terrible script, it's not, but the premise is pretty thin and very high concept. It's also helped by a lot of sight gags going on. They do some nice world building with this Disney-fied way station, because they have all these different worlds that you can spend eternity in. And of course, they have people trying to sell their worlds. Hey, how about Wine World? Spend eternity in Wine World. And then you see a sign that says man-free world sold out. So, you want to be looking for things like that. And I was really surprised that there wasn't like a Christmas World.
Yeah.
And then we wouldn't have spent 5 minutes in Christmas World, but that might have been a little too close to a Hallmark. In fact, they might be working on that now as we speak. But it's enjoyable. It is. I mean, it's not one that you're probably going to remember all that long, but while you're watching it, you're going to have a good time with it. And it is character based in funny ways. I mean, Miles Teller is a perfect goofball, because he has spent 65 years with this woman, and like, what do you mean you're not going to pick me? But yet she's now got this flush of remembering young love from this guy who died a hero, and he's so handsome. Now that's the one nit I will pick, because they have a little scene in there where they talk about how my whole family, this is Elizabeth Olsen talking, would always talk about, you were too handsome for me. I'm like, excuse me?
You're Elizabeth Olsen. Have you seen you?
What? Not that the guy's not handsome.
No, but no one is too handsome for Elizabeth Olsen.
I'm like, whoa. But anyway, again, we digress.
Yeah.
So yeah, Callum Turner has fun as this, because he's not really perfect, of course, because he's a human being, but he's enjoying the reputation after all these years of everybody remembering him as a perfect human being. And then Miles Teller has to compete with that. And then in the middle, you've got Elizabeth Olsen going, hey, this is me, and it's not about you two, it's about me, and who is she going to pick? You can you might be able to guess the way it goes, but even if you do, I think you'll have fun with it and watch the nifty visuals, because there's a booth where you can go while you're deciding, and it's like a movie theater, and you can see old scenes from your life. And the guy who runs the ticket booth is like, doesn't want you to come in there, because this is not really a good idea, So it's fun. It's warm. It's got some nice holiday warm fuzzies, and it's led by some really fine performances. So especially if you like rom-coms, and we really don't, unless they're really better ones like this. And I think it is. So I think, it's enjoyable. It's eternity, and it's in theaters now.
Also in theaters, after a tragic loss, a grieving father tries to raise his young sons while dealing with an unlikely, unpredictable, and uninvited house guest. The Thing with Feathers.
Benedict Cumberbatch. This is one that we thought was coming out last week.
Right.
But either we were wrong or it got postponed.
Right.
But it's here now. And of course, because Benedict Cumberbatch is in it, he's good in it.
He's so good in it. Yeah, he's so good in it. It's a film. It's based on a novella that kind of is experimental in the way that it is written and the point of view that it takes. And so the movie takes that same shape. It feels a little bit experimental, and it drops you into this household, a man, just dad, who is Cumberbatch, and his two boys. And it is it's the night of you come to realize it's the night of their mother's funeral. And so the rest of the movie is about dad struggling with grief and also struggling with trying to be a good dad. And these little boys just struggling with not having their mom and having their dad really suck at being the only parent. So it's a lot, you know, and Cumberbatch is so committed. And these little boys are so cute, just feral, these little kids. They're so cute. And they are real brothers, Richard Boxall and Henry Boxall, and they're insanely cute. And then as he sort of succumbs to grief, this terrifying giant crow comes into the house.
The thing with feathers.
The thing with feathers. And is it in his head? It is in his head. Is it not in his head? Is it, you know, but he talks a lot, and it's voiced by David Thewlis, who is great. And a lot of it is a lot of it is sort of pantomime, a lot of it is shadow, a lot of it is drawings, but there is actually a suit. There's a giant man in a bird suit in certain scenes. And man, God, the suit is gorgeous. It's so terrifying and interesting and shiny with all these big feathers and big beak. It's really, it just in a visual way, it's a stunning movie. And it's a really lovely, melancholy look at grief. And this man who just, if he's honest, he doesn't want to not grieve. That gives her up. Once he stops being sad all the time, every day, it's because she's just not there and he has to live with it. He doesn't want to. But that makes you a shitty dad. So it's really fascinating the way it covers it. The lack of structure, because again, the novella is very experimental in structure. The lack of structure really holds the movie back, you know, because we needed, I think, more like flagpoles. This is what's happening. This is who this is. This is where, you know, this is why this person is important. But you don't get it at all. It's very amorphous. It's just very sort of fluid in a way that makes it a hard movie to wrap your head around exactly. So I'm not sure. It's not entirely satisfying. The experience isn't, but it is really lovely. And man, Cumberbatch is wonderful. You know, and it's a sad movie. It's sad. So if you're in the mood, and sometimes you are in the mood to see something that's just sad and well made. And if you are, it's a good one.
And we should mention the director and the co-writer, Dylan Southern, I believe is the name. Did I get that right? Yes, Dylan Southern.
Based on Max Porter's book.
Max Porter's novella, yeah. So just know what you're in for. This is not a happy-go-lucky rom-com.
It is not.
Not at all. But very good. The Thing with Feathers, and Benedict Cumberbatch, of course, always stellar. And that's in theaters. It's in theaters. Okay, there you go.
Next from Netflix, a single mother and her 2 daughters relocate to Taipei to open a night market stall, each navigating the challenges of adapting to their new environment while striving to maintain family unity. In Left-Handed Girl.
Wouldn't be surprised to see this one nominated for Best International Feature this year. It's really good, and now this one, interestingly enough, is co-written by Sean Baker,
Who also edits.
Yeah, and he and the director who he co-wrote. Now I'm going to try to pronounce it correctly. The director who also co-wrote it with Sean Baker is Shin-Ching Sao, and she has worked, I guess, with Sean Baker on other films and other capacities. And then they wrote this, and she films it about her homeland. It's about a family returning to Taipei in Taiwan, the big city. And the mother is opening up a noodle shop at this big marketplace. And the family is struggling. They've had some financial issues, and they have some emotional issues as well. And they also have a little sister played by Nina Yi. And she is incredible.
It is the week of cute kids, man.
It is. And this girl, I think she's 9 years old now. I don't know how old she was when they filmed this, but her character, I believe, is supposed to be 5. And it reminds you a lot of, in the Florida Project, Sean Baker's Brooklyn Prince.
Oh, man. She was so great.
That incredible performance from a child. And this girl, Nina Yi, is, first of all, she's so cute. She's incredibly cute. And her character is so important to the story. She's the left-handed girl, and just one of the many things that's going on with this family is that her grandfather is old school, and he is mad because the family is not demanding that she not be left-handed, because he said, back in my day we would beat you, you know, you cannot be left-handed. The left hand is the devil's hand. So he convinces her that your left hand is your devil's hand. And then next thing you know, she says, no, my hand stole this candy from the store. It's the devil hand. And lots of other things happen with her and with her older sister, Shu Fen, played by Janelle Say, who's very, very good. And their mother, Esther K. Che. And you've got the grandparents come into play as well, because the grandmother, who's about to turn 60, and they're going to have a big party, she's involved in smuggling people out of the country into America. And there's another guy that maybe is interested in the mom, who works and sells like ShamWows and things at the market. It's not a ShamWow, but you get my meaning. And so there's a lot going on with this family, and that's basically what the movie is. It's this family persevering through a lot of upheaval.
Yeah.
And that you get the feeling that the mom is sort of the black sheep of her family, of her siblings, but maybe there's a good reason for that, and maybe they're not being as understanding as they could be. And of course, maybe the parents are favoring their one son because that is highly prized in the society. And it's fascinating to get caught up in this family and also in this society, because it's also very clearly a statement by this filmmaker about her homeland. And for people like us who have never been there and not familiar, the city itself becomes a character.
It really does, right from the beginning. Yeah. The amount of time that they spend just shooting the characters on their like moped getting around. And yeah, it is. It really is. It's fascinating.
Yeah, not only the city and how it operates, but also the themes and the views, especially toward women, and how we've got the grandfather who doesn't give up his old ways, and how the younger generation wants to see things change. That's universal in a lot of societies, and it's playing out differently here in Taiwan. So there's many, many reasons to recommend this film. It's just, it's not as free flowing as say The Thing with Feathers, but it is a bit just kind of flowing from sideline to sideline. And there are a couple things, it throws a couple curveballs in there, like, oh, that's okay, that kind of came out of nowhere. But it doesn't derail the movie. It's got a couple of, well, more than a couple of funny parts. Yeah. And the girl is just as dear as she can be. I mean, Nina Yi, the character and the actress is just precious. But it's got a lot going for it. So I really enjoyed this movie. I think well done for both the director and Sean Baker, because if you're a Sean Baker fan, you'll definitely recognize some of his style of filmmaking, even though he co-wrote it and edited it. So yeah, you're going to have his thumbprint on some of this. But it's also a very committed vision by this filmmaker about her homeland and about characters that she probably knows quite well. So a big recommendation for that if it's in your area, getting a rollout in select theaters, and I fully expect
and on Netflix.
And on Netflix. Okay, good. Fully expect this to be in the awards discussion for international feature, and it's The Left-Handed Girl.
And at the height of the holiday season, two strangers team up to rob one of London's most famous department stores while accidentally falling in love. It's Jingle Bell Heist.
More Netflix, a heist movie. We've said we like them. This one, it's pretty standard fare, and that synopsis, while accidentally falling in love. So you can sort of fill in a lot of the blanks. But it's these two people who they start out, they don't know each other. It's Olivia Holt and Connor Swindells. And it's one of those flashback deals where it starts out the night of, they're robbing this store, the big heist on Christmas Eve. And then we flash back 2 weeks earlier to how they both got into these desperate straits for two different reasons and what pulled them together to pull off this heist. Number one, there's not a lot of chemistry between these two people. No. There just isn't. And that's the thing that we've said many, that you can't fake it.
Either you have it or you don't.
Either you have it or you don't. And they just really don't. Yeah. So that is a problem. But you do have some good support. And the guy who runs the store, who's a complete D-bag, is played by Peter
Serafinovich.
And he's great. I love that guy.
From Sky and from Shaun of the Dead. Yeah. And he just always plays a douchebag, and he's so good at it.
He's so good. Yeah, he's so good. Love that guy.
Yes.
Whatever he's doing.
Yes.
And then his wife is played by Lucy Punch, who you've seen in a bunch of stuff.
She's also
so the two of them are fun together, and they're definitely, because they are married, but they don't like each other.
No.
And so the two of them are fun to watch in their limited roles. And it's fun, I guess. There are some nice set pieces inside this very extravagant store. And then toward the end, it does try to throw you a couple of curveballs with the story that are, I guess, somewhat surprising. And then it gives you, as the formula that's following, it gives you that Ocean's 11 backtrack to let you see exactly how it played out. So it's not blazing any trails at all.
No,
I don't think, but
not even Christmas lighting up any trails.
No. But to its credit, I don't think it's acting like it is blazing trails. It's just doing it again and just not doing it that well.
No.
Yes. So,
I mean, if that, no shade. If that's your bag, you want sort of a mindless, it's a Christmas movie and it's a romance movie and there's a heist and it's British. Okay. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Fine.
Yeah. And it's on Netflix. It's a streamer. So you're putting up the tree or whatever you're doing. Yeah. You're knocking back a few eggnogs.
We watched Black Christmas when we put our tree up, and that's going to be our thing moving forevermore. That was my favorite thing. We should have always done that.
Black Christmas, yeah. This is not Black Christmas.
No.
This is Jingle Bell Heist. Jingle Bell. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Jingle Ball Heist or Jingle Bell Heist. See, I haven't even got that. I want to make sure I get the title right. Jingle Bell Heist.
Jingle Ball. What sense does that make?
Jingle Ball Rock. Jingle Bell Rock.
Yeah.
Michael Fiuminari is the director, and Abby McDonald and Amy Reed are the writers. So yeah, it's just really following a formula. And unfortunately, when you're mixing a heist with a rom-com, you need some chemistry between those two leads who are accidentally falling in love.
You also need a better script.
You need a better script, and you just need a better everything. But there it is, streaming. It's a heist. It's a rom-com, and it's Jingle Bell.
That's right.
Heist.
Next up, a washed-up Hollywood action hero takes a role in a small English village's quirky Christmas pantomime, where he finds unexpected inspiration through the show's straight-talking dance instructor, Tinsel.
Do you want to know what the best thing about Jingle Bell Heist?
I do know that it's not the worst movie of the week.
Not Tinseltown. I just watched Tinseltown, and so I'm watching Jingle Bell Heist going, well, I mean,
it's Citizen Kane.
It's less dumb, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't know why. I had a little bit of high hopes for this movie because partly because of the cast. So Kiefer Sutherland is this, like an action hero jerk. Making the 7th in his action series, the 7th sequel, and they decided not to make an 8th, and his agent doesn't want to deal with it anymore. So she convinces him to do theater in England, and he just assumes he's going to London's West End or East End, whichever end, to do something really important, and he winds up instead in this tiny little podunk place that's doing their Christmas pantomime.
Is he going to learn about, is his heart going to grow 3 sizes that day? Is he going to find love?
But so Rebel Wilson plays like the dance instructor for this play, right? And Alice Eve plays his ex-wife. And so I thought, you'll get a really bad movie with one name in it because it's like they just enough money to get one person who's desperate, right? But like these are 3 biggish name people.
Alice Eve doesn't do enough, at least that I've seen.
No, she does. No.
Yeah. And
she's always good, too.
She is, and she shows up in this.
Yeah, this movie's awful. And I kept thinking, okay, I'm going to stick it out because maybe it's awful for a reason. Like, is this, is it, and then, what's so funny is that his character arc changes dramatically. It's like, we'll just put him in a small town. He's going to embarrass himself. And he's going to be gruff and terrible. And then eventually you're going to go, he's remembering their names. Isn't that what everybody hates about him in Hollywood? He can't remember anybody's name. But then you're like, well, he's like laughing at himself and trying to fix up the 2 stuff. Where did this come from? Do the writers understand the idea of a character arc that we have to believe that they're changing their it's just, and even that is a level of analysis the movie doesn't really deserve. It's just dumb. It's just dumb. And, the dialogue is terrible and it's just dumb.
Brings up the rear this week.
It does.
But this is in theaters?
It's in theaters.
See, that's the thing that surprises me the most.
Oh, yeah.
Because
it's got streaming.
Streaming. It really does. Yeah. So that really surprised me. So, yeah. Unfortunately, I would go with Jingle Bell Heist over the Tinseltown.
I would go with Black Christmas.
Yeah, you want to get in the spirit, right? Black Christmas. So that's the haul this week.
That is.
And we've got an even bigger haul for Santa in his bag next week.
So many.
Starting with Five Nights at Freddy's
2. And also the whole bloody affair. Kill Bill, volumes 1 and 2 together for the first time.
Yeah.
Cannot wait.
Got to get out our Pai Mei and the Bride cosplay.
We do.
That we did for Halloween.
Yeah, we have those costumes.
Also, Merrily We Roll Along.
That's for him.
Yeah, an adaptation of the, of course, the Sondheim musical. That, when it first debuted, Jason Alexander on Broadway. Jason Alexander was in that original Broadway cast. I don't think he's in this movie, but we'll find out.
This is why he's going to be the one to review it. I wasn't a diss about the show. Hamnet, which I'm very excited about.
Ooh, that's getting a lot of awards
Yeah.
buzz. Oh, also Pig Hill. We talked about that during Nightmares Film Festival because it debuted at Nightmares here.
Yep.
And we know some people involved in it, so that'll be fun to talk about Pig Hill.
Well, also The Wailing.
Not the one, if you're familiar as we are, with the Korean. It's Korean?
Yes.
Movie. Great.
Yeah. It's
From 5 years ago or so.
Yeah.
But which is like 3 hours long. But
Yeah,
it's still very good.
It's
this is a
really good, but this is a different one.
different Wailing.
This is Spanish language.
Also, Zodiac Killer Project.
And 1,000 Nights of Hero.
A Man Finds Tape.
And Reflection in a Dead Diamond.
So that's a busy week.
It is. That's a lot.
Busy week.
We better get on it.
Yeah. How are we going to get our shopping done? But that's this week. What do you think about this week? Wake Up Dead Man, the new Knives Out, Zootopia 2, Eternity. Maybe you love some Jingle Bell Heist. Maybe you love some Tinseltown, really. Let's talk about it. We love to keep that conversation going anytime. You can find us, MaddWolf Columbus, on all the social pages. MaddWolf.com is the website. And, of course, if you like horror movies as much as we do, we've got a separate horror movie only podcast called Fright Club. You can find on YouTube and all the normal apps as well. So enjoy the movies. Hope you're having a great start to your holiday season. Eat a bunch and then go back for a snack. That's my
or a nap.
That's my or a nap. And until then, have a great week. She is Hope Madden.
He's George Wolf.
And this is the Screening Room Podcast.
See ya.
Go Bucks.
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner. Bye.